Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. On today's Sunday gear review, here with my friend Master Ken. You know him, the master of Ameridote. Today, we have a gear review on the Urban Carry G3, now with slightly less suck and fail. Big Tex Outdoors has holsters, accessories, optics, and other parts that you need as a self-defender. I'm one of his customers and I recommend him highly. Check out the page on our website with our favorite deals. So I have some ideas for you why a lot of people have asked me about this holster because I put the videos up, 2 of them on the channel on the original Urban Carry, and the title of that video was A Wretched Pulsating Ball of Suck and Fail. And so they're like, John, you got to review the G3. So I spent real American dollars on this. I'm going to tell you why I still think it doesn't meet the requirements, but my friend Master Ken here has some ideas of how it might be useful. So let's talk about what you actually have here. What you have is you have a same thing that you had in the G1, which is a leather, and it's high quality leather, I'll give them that. Basically a sack is what you have here. So if I peel this sack out, what you get is you get a place to stuff a gun. Now in the G3 version, what they have here is they have this little piece in here. You can go on their website and see that kind of clicks in over the trigger guard. So let's remind ourselves of the 3 things that a holster has to do to be acceptable. Number 1, it must cover the trigger guard completely. Number 2, it must hold the firearm securely. Number 3, it must allow access to the firearm reliably. This meets 2 out of the 3, but the 3rd one I don't think it meets, and that's why it still is a pulsating ball of suck and fail, just slightly less. So let's talk about first one. Is the trigger guard completely covered? I think while the gun is in the holster here, yes, it's covered and the whole gun and everything else is covered. And I think that even what you're supposed to do here, and I'll show you this in a bit, is that you slip your belt through this, then this comes over the top and holds it, and then the whole gun is designed to be below your waistline, right? So rather than sit up here on your waistline, the whole gun is designed to be below your waistline like this. So is the trigger guard covered while it does that? Yes, so it passes that portion. Number 2, it holds the firearm securely. Now, what we do for that, and our standard for that, is that we don't have any retention holding it or whatever. We take a gun, an unloaded gun, in this case a blue gun, and we give it a kind of a soft shake. If it holds in there, then it's fine. And this is a adjustable retention. You can actually adjust the retention with this little screw here. It came to me way too tight. So I then loosened that up enough, and now it's, yeah, I mean, you can hear it. It clicks in there pretty firm. If I do any more than that, it actually comes apart. I actually think it's a little too much, but it certainly holds the firearm securely. Now, let's talk about allows access to the firearm reliably. Here's where I think it has a real problem. I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last time to cause the internet to lose its dang mind about how it, I didn't wear it on the first one. I didn't think I needed to, quite frankly. I think the design problems were self-explanatory. But let's do that here, and I'll kind of show you how this guy goes on and then why I don't like it. Primarily because of this chair. So here we go. This is what we're going to do. Now I'm going to tell you I'm wearing my regular belt today, which is an 1 3/4 belt. I'm not going to tuck my shirt in, but this does allow you to tuck your shirt in. So what you got here is you take the gun and you stuff it down your pants, okay? Then you take this other part and it goes down here and it clips onto your belt. And it does clip just right onto my 1 3/4 belt. Okay, great. So now the gun is sitting here and it's down that far. And now I want to push that gun down until this goes over the top. Okay, now let's rearrange everything just so that it's there. Now, I do think that, kind of the idea here is then that I don't want to tighten this too tight, because if I tighten it too tight, then the stupid gun won't come out. So there's that, and now that's over there. And I think what the idea is here is that what they'd say is, well, this is kind of less obtrusive. My problem is in order to get this kind of piece here over my belt like this, I then have this big piece of leather that's hanging down. And so now my big problem here, now I could rearrange this and get it out of the way, but now I've still got this big piece of leather. And what is this? I think the idea is here that this is like a cell phone or something. Does that look like a cell phone to you? It doesn't look like a cell phone to me. Now you might say, well, John, this whole thing is supposed to go back behind your pants. Okay, and we can do that and then stick this whole thing back behind. But honestly, then I think what you're doing is you're starting to stress the clip a little bit here. And this clip is one of my challenges. So if you push that all the way back, okay, fine. Now you've just got this thing that is kind of supposed to look like your boomer dad's cell phone, but it's kind of smaller than a cell phone. And it's kind of not that. So yes, I can tuck my shirt behind it. okay? And now I can look like a boomer at the grocery store. Okay, and so, all right, now then the next thing. I'm wearing pants that have a lot of space in it, but if I pull that, it gives me the giant gun penis. And some folks may look at that as a feature, not as a bug. But to me, it's hard to get this guy to a comfortable spot. Okay, whatever, fine. Now, let's talk about drawing the gun. So the third thing it has to do is it has to allow you to draw the firearm reliably. So of course we talk about this all the time, whether you're coming from a fig leaf kind of position, you know, where you're covering up the boys, or you're, hey man, I don't want any trouble, or whatever. The idea says that I'm going to, whether one-handed or two, I'm going to go two-handed. I reach over and grab a hold of my concealment piece here, and that lets me then pull the firearm up. Look at what I have. I have a gun here. Now I get a hold of the gun, pull that out, still a little bit too much retention, let that go, and then go and do my pew-pew. Okay, fine. But do you notice what happened here? A couple things. Number one, now to put the gun back away. Now if I need to reholster, we talk about this on the big channel all the time. I got to be able to reholster the gun effectively. Here now, I got to play origami, and notice how easy it was for me to point the gun at myself. I think I could potentially, not, maybe. Okay, there it finally went in. Now I stuff the gun back down my pants. Okay, I'm good, right? I've got it back on. Awesome. Which is all fun and games if I'm standing and I'm ready and I'm easy. But even with this, even right here, I don't like it. Why? Because I reach over, grab a hold, or if I do it one-handed, okay, fine. Either way, same thing here. I rip real good. Now look at how high my gun is. The gun has come all the way up to the middle of my chest. So then to get a hold of it, I've got this big thing here. And so what I end up doing is this, get the gun out, then go to work. I have a hard time getting a full grip on the gun as well. So I've got my elbows way up like this. You guys have watched on the channel enough to know that one of the things I like about the gun on my waistline is I don't have to do all that. It's much easier. Somebody with limited shoulder mobility, you got people left and right of you, this sucks. It's no good. Next thing I don't love about this is this clip. So the clip doesn't have a grab underneath it. It is flat underneath. And I am a little bit worried that if I really give this guy a pull, that I can pull it off. Now in that case it didn't, and it did okay. So I'm okay with that, but I am worried that it could come off. Now, especially as we wear it a while. Now I'm gonna tell you, I haven't done a bajillion draws, but I want you to see, again, what that clip looks like. See how it doesn't have a hook underneath it, it doesn't have like a hook underneath it or anything. And so it for right now is okay, but I worry about that wearing over time, or the leather behind it giving a little bit, and then me going to draw this gun and yeeting the thing out of my hands. Didn't happen in that case. I think it won't happen when it's new, but I worry that it's gonna happen when you've given it some time. By the way, I have worn this guy around the house a whole bunch. I wasn't comfortable wearing out in town. And I've left the gun in here for a month so that it could really wear into it. Final thing. Now, if I'm in some khakis or something like that, or I'm in business attire and people go, hey, wait a minute, what is that on your waist, John? What do I tell them? I don't know. Do I lie? I'm not a big fan of lying. That goes against my faith commitments. Here's a bigger problem. What about those of us who spend a lot of time seated? Here's where my big problem shows up, because I sit down and now what? So now the gun is down here, and now I have this long piece that can't move, and I have to get a gun out. There is literally here, I'm gonna grab a hold of this, and there is literally no way, because the muzzle, if you can see, the muzzle is actually pushing now into my leg. Now, I know what you're gonna say. The answer to that, John, is to change your draw stroke. And the way that we do that is we kick our hips way out front like this, which functionally straightens us up, and then the gun can come up, and then we're still having that retention problem. And now the gun is way up like this, and now we can push into like that. Okay, I'm gonna give you that. I think that is a really significant amount of movement that I have to do to get the gun out. I have to stretch way back like this. Now I have to actually get out here and do my work. And what's the chances that I'm then gonna pick up and do the things that I need to do in order to shoot the gun well? Very few. Now I gotta put the gun away. Let's just say for whatever reason, I'm stuck in a booth at the restaurant, or I am in a spot, I'm in my car, Now, of course, I am going to tell you, I'm not going to hold this against them too much because I generally say stand up in order to reholster. But you might need to put the gun in the holster while you're doing that. And with appendix carry, with a good appendix carried holster, I can just kick my hips forward a little bit, put the gun away. Here, I am going to really have to. See, my worry here is now I've got to kick all the way out like this the whole time to not point a gun at myself. There it clicked in, and then try to reholster this thing. It's just not going to happen in reality. So there's my big problem. There's my biggest thing. When the gun comes out here, look at how high this is. Look at how much I've got to get this gun up in order to get the gun out. You can see the muzzle of the gun is completely above the belt line, whereas with a traditional appendix holster, what happens, what I would want to see is about right here, so that my elbows are tucked, everything's here, and the gun just comes out. So in terms of an actual gear review, I still think this thing fails. Now, I told you though that my friend Master Ken here thinks that there may be some uses for this.
As usual, John has a severe lack of imagination. By the way, I just want to say how uncomfortable I was watching him adjust this holster as many times as he did. I don't think it was necessary. I think that's something he chose to do. When it comes to a holster like this, there are actually a variety of advantages that I'm going to point out right now. Number one, pointing it down and just putting it directly in front of your groin as groin protection, okay? I can use it to bounce bullets off of if someone tries to shoot me in the groin. Those are likely to bounce off. Someone tries to strike me in the groin, okay? It's going to be harder to hurt me. And I can even use it as a weapon here, striking to the groin with a thrust of freedom strike. Another thing I can do is use this flap and do a slap, okay? I used to train a bunch of people at a bar called the Blue Oyster. Apparently all of them were security. They were always dressed in leather, and they used to call me the leather daddy because I was so good at teaching them how to fight with the things they were wearing, okay? One of the things I would do is take this and slap across, okay? Back and forth, slapping, okay? In a way that will stun the opponent. Also, when we're talking about using the heavy end, okay? That can also be used as a blunt force instrument. You don't even have to take the weapon out of the holster. You can just strike across, okay? You can put it against the opponent's sternum, punch the gun into their body, causing them damage. And then when we're talking about the chair, that's a simple issue of athleticism and creativity, okay? If I have this holster, let's say that I'm got it in my groin protector position here, sitting back. This person comes up and wants to start some smack with me, okay? All I do, yes, I do the lean back, but I don't stop, okay? Because my goal is to pull the weapon all the way out as I flip back, grabbing, and using this holster as a distraction technique so that I can strike with the chair.
So there you have it. Still significant amounts of suck and fail as a holster, but as an impromptu defensive item, I think Master Ken might have a point.
Of course, then again, everything in my hands is a lethal weapon.
This is John with a not so street lethal tip.
I'm Master Ken. Remember, always re-stomp that groin.